So you've been playing Grand Summoners, and now your account is strong enough for these shiny beauties. Not those, these. And now you want your runs to look like this. Nuking all Crest bosses. Well, almost all. If this is your goal, you're in the right place. Today, I'll show you what crests are, which ones to chase, how every Crest Palaces work, and how to nuke them. Clean, fast, repeatable.
But why nuke?
Because deleting a boss in one shot is therapy, and it saves time.
Why does it matter?
I'll tell you why. Because crests aren't just boosting your stats, it's status. Looks good on the unit and dedication all in one. I must warn you, cresting can be frustrating, time-consuming, resource-draining, and requirements. It requires you to have the right equipments. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this video. There's a lot to go through. Cresting 101 for new players. There are 4 tiers of Crest Palaces. Easy to hard. The standard Crest Palaces with 4 stages. Beginner, intermediate, advanced, and pro. Then there's extreme. And the one and only Nova. Real talk, if you can't clear the pro crest consistently, just hold off on cresting entirely. Trust me, it won't be worth it. Save your time and effort until your account is ready. Speaking of effort, in order for Extreme and Nova Palaces to be playable, your account is required to be level 100. If you're under 100, you won't have access to them. But when there's a will, there's a way. With friends. Or join multiplayer and hope that the host lets you in. You know the drill. Drop rates are absolutely and crest farming takes millions. I mean millions of years. Okay, not really. If you're lucky, you might get a 4+ and 200 runs or 5,000 runs. I'm not kidding. This is a real thing. But I've never gone beyond 3,000 runs without one. Knock on wood. But this grind is non-stop on repeat day in and day out. What's your fastest or longest 4+ run? Flex or cry below in the comments. 4+ is your main goal first. Then second, your ultimate goal. A 5+. A 5+ crest requires a 4+ to burst. That's just the way it is. Okay, bursting, what is that? It's when a crest bursts. It's like Pikachu evolving into Raichu, or whichever Pokemon you like. But if Pikachu looks like this, you don't want it to evolve. Just like Ash Ketchum. Now you know why Pikachu doesn't want to be evolved. Bursting is so difficult that everyone wants to do it the right way. That's why no one wants a 5 crest. Unless it's an accident or you didn't know. So, yeah. Anyhow, there's only 2 ways to burst a crest. 1. Grinding Nova bosses, and 2. Using a burst core. But how do you get a burst core? You can't. You have to wait for Grand Summoners to be generous and provide it for us. It's so rare that we've only seen 2 total. Ever? After beating Nova, if you're not presented with a crest, this means your crest is going to burst. Congratulations. Just make sure you have a 4+ on. I should have told you this at the beginning, but set the correct unit as leader or you might give it to the wrong unit. I've always wondered why the pros and veterans have so many, like a lot. It's just crazy how their account looks sometimes. And I'll tell you the secret. It's AI. They take their time to fix their settings into usable runs. If you're just getting into AI settings and you want to know more about it, I made a beginner's guide on AI if you're interested. Check it out in my playlist somewhere. I know you're just like me. You just want the best crest, right? Well, the best crest really depends on which unit you're planning to put it on. The general crest that you'll want will be the attack crest. Art gauge up, equipment CT, and all stats up. But depending on your unit, you'll select specific buffs for specific units. When you obtain a crest, you'll randomly get a buff. Each Crest Palaces has a higher rate of dropping different buffs, but this doesn't really matter since you're aiming for a 4+ anyway, so once you start leveling up your account and mines come back out, you obtain flux drops. And I'll have to tell you, these are crazy useful. You'll use these flux drops and randomly change the buffs, so save these flux drops until you're ready to use them. If you want to know more about the different types of crests, you can look at them here by going to the Units tab and Crest fragments. You obtain them from Crest farming. You can equip the desired buff to a unit if you have enough fragments, but it's level 4 and under only. And the one that we want, well, you should know by now. Now that you know everything about cresting, let's move on to the bosses. Finally, here's one of the best tips for crest farming. Make sure you have player EX crest on your leader. This allows you to level your account up faster, especially when crest farming. This helps increase your stamina and overall use less potions. W. I don't think you need to know everything about the bosses, but I'll point out the main parts for each Crest Palaces, so you're aware of it. I'm sure you'll be able to beat or nuke these bosses with this information. Let's start with an example. This right here is how you nuke, and the core fundamentals for nuking in general. Picking who your main DPS unit is. Keep in mind that you'll need to change them for certain stages. Stacking. Stack as much buff and debuffs for your specific unit. A supporting unit is mandatory for building arch and momentum, so make sure you have at least one on the team. For harder content or specific Crest Palaces, having a DPS unit isn't enough. You'll need the right equipments, or your runs may not be successful. And you also need to know the mechanics of each boss to increase your success rate. For Friday's Crest, the boss will try to stun your units, so I brought Hero Cape to negate the stuns. My main DPS unit is Saitama. This equipment increases attack, physical damage, decreased light resistance, art damage up, and this unit for physical resistance down. With all this combined, this allows Saitama to nuke. Our first Crest Palace, Temple of Heavenly Light, Radachne. This Crest Palace can be played 3 times every day. Radachne is hard if your account is new, but in this Ascended era, it's quite easy if you know what you're doing. Elemental worms are your nemesis. They inflict some sort of status effect on you, like burn, poison, freeze, seal, and curse. If they're successful, your runs will take longer than it needs to. Your main concern will be the water, light, and dark worm. Bring Ras, Kurtles, or a unit that can cleanse your team, and it'll be easy as pie. Using the same elemental units or equipments are the only way for you to beat these worms, so make sure you have an abundance of different elements. I almost forgot. There's one more monster you have to worry about. Mega Gigantes. I don't have any footage of him, but he's a fire-type volcanic monster. He'll be on his own, so you'll know. If you don't defeat him in time, it explodes, draining 200 arts and have the possibility to wipe out your team. Be careful. Once you get to Radachne, she gains invisibility for a second, puts up a shield, and tries to inflict status effect on you. Once she's done with that animation, hit her with everything you got. If you don't finish her off in one shot, she repeats this step for each threshold. Then you have to repeat the steps. So nuking is the best option. If you want to know the best units to use for nuking, I already made a video. The top 5 nukers and grand summoners. The bonus, majority of the units you can use are there. I'll leave a link at the end of the video. Monday. Shrine of Oblivion is by far the most popular. The reason? It's fast and easy. You just need to know 2 things. 1, you need breaking equipments, and 2, you need a DPS unit that's not a dark unit, which they do absolutely no damage to the boss. S is commonly used for this stage because her passive cuts the boss's breaker bar in half at the start of the quest. Duke has this too, but he's a dark unit, so he's useless. Here, you also need good breaking equipments. And here's 3 good ones that you can get for free. Ganon's True Weapon, Mavlocalypse from a giant boss, and True Knight's Glow from a weapon of choice ticket. With these 3 equipments, you should be able to break him, then nuke. If you have Chloe in the party, her passive provides the team with 200 arts when the boss breaks, making your run even faster. Shrine of Perdition, an extreme Crest Palace. For this stage, you just need to make sure that you beat Grand Gorod and Cyclops as fast as you can. These 2 foes hit pretty hard and inflict status condition. Grand Gorod takes increased damage while burning, and Cyclops takes increased damage while blinded. If you're struggling to beat them, this is the strategy, or just nuke them. Plain and simple. Make sure you bring cleansing equipment or units, and the boss will be fairly easy. He will stun you periodically, but equipments like Raz, one of the best equipments in the game by the way, is really helpful. Once you get his health to 0, he starts pumping his orbs. Once it's at 4, pop your barrier and equipments. If you're struggling, use a taunt tank like Thetis or Miranda to take all the heat. For cresting, you only need one of the units to make it out alive to receive the crest. Tuesday. Shrine of Burning Chains Ifrit. This boss is easy to nuke if you have the right tools. Equipments that allow you to lifesteal, like True Exceed, will be your best friend. Units like Mizuki has this in their kit, so they will be good units to use. Once you get to Ifrit, he's going to burn you and take a good chunk of your HP. You don't need to heal your units, just make sure lifesteal is used. If you don't have the right units or equipments, you can get Roast, a free dragon unit. His true art provides the team with lifesteal, and that's all it is to it. If you do runs without lifesteal, it's still possible, just not guaranteed that you'll survive. Shrine of Crimson Sea. This quest requires you to have a few things. Duran, or any unit that can reflect. Here, you'll be in the Hellfire effect, which reflects 2% of damage you dealt to the enemy. Just like Ifrit, lifesteal mechanic is recommended here. For Durand, you need to use his art at least one time, preferably on the second wave. Then during the final wave, True Art. If you don't equip Goblin Slayer's Dagger, which have lifesteal capabilities on a 4-star physical equipment, then it's useless. It's impossible with Durand. I've tried. Wait, what if you try it with Roast? Let me know in the comments if it works. But how do you get Goblin Slayer Dagger? From the Goblin Slayer event. So if you missed it, that's it. Once the boss unleashes her attack, there you go. She kills herself. Tuesday is the first Nova boss of the week, and the easiest one, Heaven Scorching Raptor. You need a unit that can provide barriers or tank for you. Without this, it's practically useless to try. At wave 3 is the mini boss, and he can't be nuked. For every threshold, he true arts. Make sure you have a barrier and you'll be fine. Once you get to the final boss, he'll burn your units. As long as you have a barrier or tank, you'll be fine. And he can't be nuked either. Just like the mini boss, he true arts every threshold. Survive the attack with barriers, and that's it. If you want to know some of the good nuking equipments, let me know in the comments. I might just make another video. Wednesday, Shrine of Azul Knight Palamecia. This boss has increased damage to human and god type units. If you're struggling, use a demon comp or other races. At the start of the battle, she uses her art, allowing her to heal HP by 80% of damage taken, making it difficult to nuke her, but it's still possible. The best route, inflict disease, limiting healing capabilities. Units like Alvanam, Aces, and Nier can do the job. Every time she arts, her healing gets stronger, and she has a counterattack that's devastating. Here's why a lot of people have difficulties with this boss. If you attack her with your skill or equipment, it activates her counter. Use your arts to deactivate her counters. Or you can use Durant or other reflecting units to help increase your chances of nuking while inflicting disease. Shrine of Diamond Dust. This Crest Palace has Icicle Case. The mechanic of this stage reduces all ally stats by 30% and skill CT speed by 80% every 10 seconds. At first, it was difficult for me until I realized you just need accuracy. Just make sure you don't get frozen along the way and during the boss battle. Bringing what equipment? Right, Raz, or whatever you have to negate freeze that will increase your success rate. I'll tell you the best equipment to use to beat this boss. Tenru Giru. You can get this equipment from a rotating boss named Hakuro. This equipment is quite special and the only equipment in the game that reduces enemies' evasion rate. Correct me if I'm wrong. This equipment reduces enemies' blind and evasion rate by 30%. If you have a unit that can do this like Sanraku or Shadow, then you can use them instead. Then unleash your attack. If you don't nuke him in one go, you're practically out of luck. Start over. Sometimes it's inconsistent with nuking, so wait for his first attack. Use your accuracy unit, which kind of knocks the boss up. Then nuke. For some reason, this hits all the time. Here's a tip. Use the tag search tool for units and equipments. Look for the specific buff or debuff you need for your current quest / boss when team building. Thursday, Shrine of Aberration. On wave 3, you'll be presented with Dula that inflicts Seal, while King Mokyong inflicts Curse. Gorandola, the final boss, unleashes his minions. Defeat them quickly by nuking them all in one go. If you have difficulties with this boss, use a taunting and direct the damage to them and nuke. Shrine of Eternity. This Crest Palace granted me my first 4+ crest. Seems like it was just yesterday. If this stage is difficult, use a taunt tank. Dark Karak inflicts bind, and Light Karak inflict status resistance down. These guys are quite tanky, so you'll need strong DPS units. Once you get to the boss, quickly nuke him. If you're not able to defeat him fast enough, you'll have to wait for him to come back up from underground, or you'll miss your attack. Make sure he's not fully submerged underground, but beware, this guy negates magic and water damage, so pick your units accordingly. Friday, Shrine of Adamantine. This light monster takes less damage from fire, water, and earth units. If you're low level, you should take this into account. If you have a good DPS unit, buff them up like the first example, and you're good. Shrine of Caligonosity, or Friday Nova. Dark Cilia is the boss here. For the first 2 waves, what you want to do is build up your team's momentum, meaning Archon, ready up your tank, and buff up the team. The real problem is Regulus. He's not hard, just tanky. Just make sure you have a barrier up when he true arts. This part of the battle is usually the longest part. If you can get through him quickly, you have a faster run. On wave 4, you'll meet Thena. She's really squishy, but she does a good chunk of damage to your team. You'll have to heal your team or use the light defense equipment on the first threshold. Barriers won't save you here. Then the final battle, Dark Cilia. She true arts 2 times every time it's used, but her last threshold is stronger. You need to have your defense equipment and barriers ready, and you'll survive her final attack, which people bring Blessed Necklace as a precaution. Overall, I think this stage is easy, but there are so many different teams that can beat Friday Nova. Remember this. Saturday, Shrine of Whirlwind. There are only 2 gimmicks you need to understand. 1, the final boss only takes damage when poisoned, and 2, the boss is a water killer, so don't bring water units. Once you poison him, it's nuke time. Shrine of Cursed Claw. This boss doesn't have any weaknesses. Before the boss fight, you'll need to prepare for these blue blazing dragons that inflict freeze. They show up on wave 1 and 3. If you're not prepared, it's gonna freeze your team and kill your momentum, which you'll need before the boss fight. Once you get to the last wave, you need to have a good DPS unit. Actually, you might need more than one. If you don't nuke this boss in one go, it's going to freeze you, decrease your team's Argent, and do so much damage, possibly ending your run. Sunday, Shrine of Discordia. This boss is exactly the same as Shrine of Cursed Claw. Same mechanics, but no freeze. Instead, it thinks the team if you don't defeat it in time. Just give it everything you got. Shrine of Tribulation. For this Crest Palace, if your account isn't ready, it's going to be difficult for you. For the first wave, defeating these bats quickly is preferred. If you don't, they have a chance to seal your team. And wave 3, there's a chance you can be blinded. For the final boss, he has crit rate resistance, is a god killer, and feints a random unit until you break him. If you have good enough units, you can bypass this by nuking. Actually, you need to do this 2 times. This is the exact type of boss that is unnukable. Every time he arts, he's immune to damage. On the last threshold though, he delivers his final attack. Make sure you have a healing equipment or a dark defense equipment and you should be okay. If you can't bypass this part, you can beat this stage by going slower, and breaking is necessary. Shrine of Saga City. I think this is the hardest Crest Palace so far. Primarily, you'll want an Ascended Taunt tank to make this run easier. You also need a breaker like Chloe or Arthur Pentagon, a healing unit with Blessed Necklace or healing equipments to make sure you survive. You also need to negate stuns and have a dark resistance defense equipment. For the first and second wave, you'll want to build up your momentum with Argent. Oh, and you'll need accuracy to hit the monsters. Now the third wave is the most annoying. This guy continuously stuns you. That's practically it. Just attack normally and you'll beat him eventually. The final boss is quite annoying as well. She stuns you throughout the fight and hits hard as heck. You need to make sure your tank survives. Once you reach the first threshold of the final boss, you need to prepare your units and equipments. Breaking the boss here won't matter until you reach the second threshold. Then, your whole team will be fainted. Make sure your tank has an active barrier and equipment's ready to heal. After the true art is completed, your unit will have low HP. Try to heal and keep going. For this part, you'll have to break the boss in order to do damage. If you don't break her in time, this boss gets stronger with each true art, increasing her damage debuff to your team. So break her and delete her. You've already passed the hardest part. Now you're up against time. Do your best and nuke. There are 2 types of team compositions that you can go about for this Crest Palace. 1, using a tank. A breaker like Arthur Pentagon will be better here since she does more damage than Chloe. And 2, a healer like Summer Chloe, who has passive healing, out-heal the boss's damage. Importantly, you'll need defense equipments and healing equipments for survivability. Yes, finally. That took a while. But wait. There's still information you should know. Hang on for a sec. Now that you know how to beat and nuke each Crest Palaces, do you know the easiest way to get a 4+ crest? I got you. The secret Beacon Stones. GS provides these to us from time to time. But what if I told you there's another way to get more? And not just 1 or 2, but a lot. Here it is. Expedition. By collecting these daily, you get a chance to receive Beacon Stones. When you do hit the lotto, you get quite a few. The last time I got it was 13 or 18, I can't remember. Besides Beacon Stones, wait for half off Crest Palaces. This allows you to crest farm with half the stamina normally. And taking advantage of this, well, that's how the pros do it. And you should too. Remember to buff your main DPS unit and debuff the enemy for a quality nuking experience. I know I didn't provide much information on the units you can use because I already have. If you want to know more about top tier nukers, I got you. I'm sure you'll enjoy this video. The top 5 nukers and grand summoners. Which Crest Palace are you going to try with all this information? Which ones are hard for you? Who's your favorite unit to use for nuking? Let's chat in the comments. I'll catch you on the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on future content. Share this video. Don't just play the game, master it. Aim for that W. And you know what they call me,